Hello guys, it's me, Jet Martinsig, yet another Red Pill of the Universe video, and now I'm going to explain the hoe, or yes, I call it the hoe, pretty funny, but what it is that it stands for the hypothesis of everything, or HOE, or hoe as you call it. And so some sources say that we don't have a so-called theory of everything. However, I have realized, like for example, I've been doing some research and if you're going to type in have scientists found a theory of everything. And so the first thing that pops up from Wikipedia is that it says, at the present, there is no calculate theory of everything that includes a standard matter of powerful particle physics and general relativity. And so the thing is that general relativity is flawed, and how I can prove this to you is with the simple pen. Some people say, oh, space-time bend. However, space alone is not created from any elements. As for, okay, space is a thing, but what's it made of? You can't just say space and time bend just because of general relativity. It doesn't mean anything. Also, time itself doesn't bend either. It's not physical, it's a construct. And this pen, as I will show you, proves that space and time are just constructs. They don't physically bend. The only thing that's in the room as of right now is air. And so whenever I throw this pen would be like the object, like whether it be a galaxy, a planet, or whatever. And so as you will see, when I throw this pen in the air, it will come back down. Not just because of general relativity, or there is no space and time being crushed together or like being squeezed. The room would be like space. It doesn't just squeeze. The air doesn't just squeeze itself. And to prove it, I'll show you right here. Throw the pen. As you see, space and time, as I am throwing this pen up and down, the space around me doesn't expand or anything. And time itself does not expand either, or should I say space and time are not being generally warped. It's not changing, it's just the pen reacting to the movement of gravity. So that's how general relativity is flawed. Another thing is that is there a theory that explains everything? According to Science Direct, the theory of everything attempts to connect quantum theory with relativity. Again, you don't need space-time or general relativity to explain or to have a hypothesis of everything, because as I just showed you with the pen, the space around me doesn't warp. It doesn't do anything. The time of this pen falling time is not physical. It's a construct. It doesn't warp. It doesn't do anything either. So then how can you explain the pen going up and down? Well, there is another hypothesis of everything that I have created that doesn't revolve general relativity. In fact, it also is kind of useless to have general relativity in it because it doesn't require it. One of the things that I have realized is that the universe or everything is made up of atoms. And so the root of everything, regardless of what it is, by planet, galaxy, star, you, or me, has a code. And that code is made up of atoms. Atoms are basically the root of everything. Even in this very room, as I speak, there is code. And I'm not talking about, oh, we're living in a simulation or any of that bullcrap, because we're not. The code, nature's natural code, is all about the atom. And so I have learned and categorized the atom into three subvariants, into three subjects. By natural, meaning that it was created without man-made, or should I say something was created without human interference. Number two would be organic, meaning alive chemistry, like bacteria, plants, animals, even you and me. We are considered organic. And the last one is man-made, meaning that humans manipulate the laws of nature to create something. And so out of these three categories, the thing that unites all of them is chemistry. And so the irony about the universe, if you can't create something, it will never be destroyed. And so the irony is if you can't destroy something, you can't create it. It's just nothing but a slap in the face. And so an example of, if I only had a piece of paper right here, but an example of natural chemistry would be obviously is right in front of your face. The earth, the sun, the star, the moon, all of that is considered natural chemistry. It's not alive, and it's not man-made. It was all created through the natural laws of nature itself. And so in time, it's almost like a cycle, like the rock cycle, the water cycle. And so I have learned that there's a chemical cycle, meaning that between natural, organic, and man-made, there's a hidden circle that goes in each and every one of those. And so for one, as I said, was the natural is the first part is the natural cycle, which is basically how stars, planets are created through natural chemistry. And so planets and stars can be recreated through that step of recycling natural elements or within the natural environment to create new stars and planets. So it's basically like a recycling process. And so eventually, depending on the conditions you have for a certain planet, eventually you can create organic chemistry from natural chemistry. And so natural chemistry is created is not man-made. An example of natural chemistry is how most of us were born, through the natural process of reproduction by male and female sexual orientation or whatever. That would be an example of of organic chemistry created through natural processes. And so an organic chemistry would be like you and me, or a chicken, or a plant, whatever, or perhaps even bacteria. And so, as humans like us, we have created what is called man-made chemistry, which means that we have manipulated the laws of nature to create things. As an example, artificial bacteria. That's not natural or organic. Or something such as cars, for example. You can't naturally grow cars in the wild. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't work. We know that cars are possible, but according to the rules of nature, you can't create cars naturally. They are only created man-made. This includes planes, jets, tanks, anything that is even cloning is considered man-made. And so another complicated process is that you can have natural chemistry creating natural chemistry, like the sun, like stars going supernova, and the gas collapsing on itself, creating more stars and planets, and the cycle repeats. For organic chemistry, you can have the cycle repeating, as you can have one male, one female, and you get an offspring, and then that offspring has sex, and they have more offspring, and that cycle repeats. And then man-made chemistry, man-made chemistry, is that you can have robots basically creating cars, which is basically humans create robots, which creates cars in assembly process, and that cycle repeats. However, it can also be even more complicated, is that you can have something that is man-made be organic, like how we genetically modified E. coli to clean up pollution and other debris. Or I would not say E. coli, but basically we have genetically modified bacteria to clean up debris and all that. Another example would be cloning. Cloning is not a natural process, it's a man-made process. Because the thing is that it's just that cloning is man-made because it's not natural. It's just that a person is physically taking the genes of someone and placing the other genes of a male or a female into another, and then you get an offspring. And that's not natural. For something to be organic, or for something to be natural, it has to be created without human interference. Another thing is that what you can do, you can have something that is natural, you can have something that's man-made be organic, like how we basically altered the combination of breeding of foxes, or how we modified genetic engineering, like pugs, for example. If you look at a pug and looking at it in the 17th century, you would realize that they would look nothing identical. That's because of human genetic modification and engineering. That would be an example of man-made chemistry, or man-made, as to how we would take something that's man-made and we altered it into being organic. So that explains that. And so another thing is that some people say dark matter is a force of the universe, and same thing with dark energy. And so the irony about that, they have failed to provide proof as to what dark matter even is made of. This is a Facebook post that I took a picture of not too long ago. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like scientists see the rarest event ever recorded in research for dark matter. First of all, how do you know that that's an image of dark matter to begin with? And second of all, if you examine the object more closely, it looks like that of a plasma ball, which is made of what scientists would consider normal matter. So saying that it's made from dark matter is completely obsolete, because it's just clickbaited science bullcrap. Another thing about dark matter is this is that some people say dark matter could be pulling inside dead stars. Well, the thing is that dead stars are not made of dark matter. They are only made of normal matter, like normal hydrogen, helium, etc. There is no dark hydrogen, dark helium. If there was, we would have already created it by now. As for that's kind of a little ironic. And an experiment that you can do, a homemade experiment that you can do to prove that dark matter does not exist, is that you can take a picture of your house, a room in your house, taking a picture of it during the day, and take the same picture at night. In fact, I will show you an example right now. As you guys can see, this hallway is very mildly dark.
And that's how you like it?
And so, as you see, most of this room is dark. Just like the universe, it's mostly dark. You can't really see much, and yet so like as I said, you can't really see much as to what's going on. However, the moment I turn on the light, now you can see on what everything is made from. Like you can see these plants. You can see this room that I just opened. You can see the details of the room. And as you see, there is no dark matter. It's just that most things in the universe, or most matter, including you and me, doesn't produce light as a byproduct. The same thing happens within, and so the only reason you get to see these things is because of the light that is above the ceiling. As the light hits the object, it reflects back into your eyes. And so, the moment I turn off these lights, you would see it becomes invisible. You can't see it. The only thing that you can see is the light given off by the chemical reactions. You can only really see the green and perhaps maybe the blue. And that's the same thing like the universe. The only reason why we can see these objects in space is because the light from the sun hits the object and it reflects back into our eyes. That's how we can see the moon. The only reason why we get to see the moon at night is because as the sun is hitting the moon, its rays bounce off and it hits Earth and it reflects back into our eyes. Another thing about light, if I want to have a flashlight right now, it doesn't bend in any way. The only way that light can bend is that if it's near like a certain prism. An example would be like sun rays coming from the sun at Earth at an angle. That would be an example of how light can bend. But light overall doesn't bend. It will always be straight no matter which direction you throw at it. Unless the only way that how light works is that if you have a light near a prism, whether it be a like quartz or a window, is that the light, this is an example of how Earth works, is that as the sun rays hit the Earth, some light is absorbed, some of it is bent, and some of it is completely refracted. The same thing happens when you shine a light at a window or at a prism. Some light is absorbed, some light is scattered, and the others are completely reflective. And so, with that conclusion, being said, I would not say that dark matter is really a thing or as dark energy, because as I just showed you some experiments just now, the use of dark matter could be nothing more but an illusion, as it's just normal matter, or as what scientists call it. The only reason why it's dark is because of light, is because of the light. There's no light present, and because there is no light given off by the chemical reaction, or I should say, doesn't bounce it back into our eyes. It makes it seem invisible to us. And so, another thing, with that being said, the root of basically to everything in the universe, from planets to stars to missiles, tanks, whatever, all has to do with chemistry, not general relativity or any of that bullcrap. Because as I just proved earlier, with the experiment of throwing in the pen, as you see, the space in this room doesn't change. It's stationary, and time alone is a construct. Time doesn't physically exist. No element creates time. Time is perhaps endless. And so, the thing is, if you can understand chemistry, you can probably understand basically almost everything in the universe, from planets to man-made things, even to organic things. In fact, even viruses, bacteria have a certain code. If we could see atoms on a micro level scale, we would see a code of how the bacteria infects animals, plants, and even humans like us. However, some of those reactions are so sudden they would be impossible to detect. But some slow reactions, if we could see code of a person or a thing, like in the Matrix movie, we would see on how certain things are more rustier than others. Like we could see weak points in bridges or in vehicles. We could see where the virus is going to be heading next, or like in a certain organism. We could see certain animals, or we could see certain things that we don't want to see there, like in our carpet. And so, with that being said, I would say that I don't think that general relativity really plays that much of a role in the universe. It just doesn't work. However, the thing I do say, with going deep into the investigation, is that I do really know that how the universe works is that it's all connected with chemistry. If you can understand chemistry, you can understand basically almost anything you can think of. It's just that you just may have to take the time and effort to understand that. So I hope you learned something. Feel free to like or dislike the video, or whatever, it's your choice. And next topic, I will be talking about the final chapter in this mini series of the manifestation of life and death. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Feel free to subscribe, like or dislike the video. I really don't care. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.